Okay, so it is November 6th, 2021. Patch 1.05 came out a couple days ago, and I need to tell you something. It completely changed PvP as we know it. So the big takeaway is that resilience got fixed. So resilience, it is on Void Bat gear, or any gear you can find it on, and it gives critical hits deal 4.8% less damage to you. Now, they fixed it. It used to, like, what it was doing was giving just flat damage reduction to all incoming damage, but not anymore. And so that changed a lot, because now tanks are not nearly as tanky as they were. Tanks are still tanky, but not like before. But then you take another factor. You combo this with the fact that in 1.04, when they made a bunch of changes, they accidentally broke a ton of mage abilities. So mages were not doing their max damage, not even close. So in wars, having mages was like not that great, because there were a ton of people running around Void Bat, super tanky, don't even take damage, and the mage's damage was inconsistent or broken and non-existent. So people didn't even think about mages. Well, that's changed. Let me tell you, I've been in a couple wars since then, and the winning side has like 25 mages or 20 mages, and it is unstoppable. It is so strong. And I'm going to show you some clips of what it looks like, because we were trying to get people in their backline to take out the mages, and it was pretty funny what happened next. All right, so here's the first example I want to give you. So this was from the war that I participated in, where we were on offense. Now there's me, and you can see there's these three other guys with me who were supposed to be in their backline, just trying to stun them and kill them. I didn't have a build that really did any damage for the time. I was trying out some Warhammer cheese strat that didn't work too good. But watch what happens next. So, dead. Oh my god, they do so much damage. Me, let me mute that. Me, almost dead. I had to run out. I had to use potions. I had to, like, you know, it was terrible. This guy right here, and he's probably gonna die too. Those mages are just destroying, absolutely destroying. Look, we could not flank into their backline. We could not push the backline at all. They would just kite us a little bit, slow us with ice, and then murder us all. And it happened over and over and over again. So here's another example of what I'm talking about. We were trying to get in the back line, and they just kite us. We can't really kill anything. That guy goes down like he's nothing. We can't finish anybody because we keep getting slowed by ice. We're trying to catch them and get a hold of them. We just cannot really get them in our grasp. And then while we do this, they can just go into our back line, because it takes so many of us to actually pressure them. And then they have advantage on respawns, so none of this even matters, like what we're doing here, because what you need to is you need to be able to flank hard enough. If you're going to be flanking like this into their backline, you need to be able to push them out hard enough to where when they just respawn, they're dying, respawn, they're dying. But instead, we're losing this fight. That guy's dead. These guys are both going to die. Oh my god, that guy popped a huge pot. I think he still might die, though. And you see, like, we can't even fight this. Now, look how much pressure. They're just winning this fight. Just all off mages. Mage, a healer. Or no, that's a mage. I think there's a mage over there. There's a mage back there. There's a mage over there. There's a mage right there. And it's like, we cannot go into this. We just cannot go into this. But then also, they have the AoE on point. So we can't really just, you know, pressure the point either. So we're kind of in a weird spot where, like, the tanks, now that we don't have that resilience bug, we just get mowed down, basically. And it's a really interesting PvP meta that's going on right now. It's still developing day by day, but this immediately jumped out as soon as the changes went through. Now, obviously, there's some of you out there who are going to be more experienced with PvP than me, have your own opinions, and some of you have companies who are super organized and have your own strats, and they're working anyway. But generally, if you're just in random wars, people are just throwing in random players and they're doing just whatever, right now, mages are really top dog in the wars that I've been in. Now, it could be, you know, the wars that I'm in, and obviously in this situation, they might have had players who were just better players or had better gear or better organization. There could be a lot of factors, but there's a pretty big trend right now on the wars that I've been in of mages are top dog now, and tanks kind of, they don't suck. You need tanks, but you can't do what we used to do. We used to do is we'd run like 35 tanks and then like a few healers and a few mages, and then we would just run them over. But now they just throw down ice walls and ice ground and slow us and stop us, and then we can't do anything, like, basically. Now, obviously, if we had wars that our players were more geared and better organized and stuff, we can still win. But if I had a choice of what players I get and what they have, I'd be picking probably 30 mages, 10 healers, 10 tanks, or maybe 20 mages, 10 miscellaneous DPS like bows and muskets, 10 healers, and 10 tanks, or something like that. Whereas before the meta was 30 tanks, 10 healers, 10 DPS, like roughly, if you could pick anything you wanted. That was more of what it was. Now, if you're not familiar with war metas in this game, another thing you should know is that Warhammer is insanely good in wars because it's so much easier to get your crowd control. In small skirmishes, people can easily sidestep it and dodge it, but when there's 50-on-50 battles going on, a lot of times people aren't paying any attention, and you can get in there and use crazy crowd control and hit lots of people at once. Another thing about the meta right now with Siege is that they fixed Siege, so Repeater might be making a comeback, but generally the defenders, what they want to see is almost exclusively explosive turrets, because at higher levels, the Repeaters don't do enough damage to tanks. They do a reasonable amount to squishy people, but when the squishy people have 8,000 health and you're hitting for like 400, 500 max, it's just kind of hard to really have an impact with the Repeater. So when we were playing on defense, what worked best for us was to have explosive turrets on defense, and then look for like good targets. Like say someone's in trouble, we shoot a cannon at him to like get the people off them, because what makes explosive turrets meta is the crowd control. Nobody cares about the damage. It's, oh my god, my guy's in trouble, take a cannon shot at him, knock everybody off of him, and now he's good to go. Or the opposite, which is our guys have an enemy player who's in trouble, and you shoot a cannon shot and knock him on the ground, and they get an easy finish because the guy can't defend himself. He's on his back. So that's why turrets are really good. Obviously, ballistas to keep any siege down, but attacker siege is just way too weak at level 60. Bows and muskets do more damage to the enemy siege weapons by like a factor of 2 or 3. So that's kind of where the meta's at for siege and all that. And yeah, so that's basically takeaway 1.05. The meta right now just seems to be just big dig DPS players, basically, and then enough tanks to keep people busy while they kill everyone, and enough healers to keep everybody alive, but no more spamming tanks, spamming healers, and calling it a day. Now, this is subject to change in the future. We'll see how it develops. I'll keep an eye on what's going on in the wars and the metas and stuff, and I'll keep you guys updated. Also, when 1.06 comes out, whenever that is, next week, I guess, if they make any other changes and things change, then, you know, I'll keep you guys in the loop if there's a drastic change. But the real reason I'm making this video is because there is a drastic change because of those changes. Big change. I think you guys should know about it if you want to have a chance of winning your wars. You might get caught off guard like we did. We went on offense and we thought, yeah, maybe we'll win, maybe we'll lose. And instead it was like, wow, we had a good strat. We were playing good and stuff, but that comp was impossible to fight head on. Like, even flanking them, it just didn't do anything. It was tough. We were having good deliberation afterwards, trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do about it? A lot of people were like, well, we just need mages. We need the same thing they have. I'm like, that's one way to counter it, but we were talking of lots of different strategies to try to deal with it and strategizing, so you should be too. Just know that meta is really strong right now in wars. Now, outside of wars, outpost rush on open world skirmishes, now it's a different story, but in wars, those mages are really shredding it right now. Which could even bring the issue of muskets and bows might be really helpful then to take out the mages. I mean, there's a lot to think about, but just know that mages are really strong right now. That's where the meta is trending towards, at least on my server in the fights that I've been in. And tanks are definitely on the downward trend because that resilience nerf. Hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you can get some ideas from this for your wars and strategize, talk to your governors and your people in charge, try to decide how you want to fight in these new developing metas. It's just a totally different landscape out here. Very interesting. I can't wait to see how it unfolds in the coming days and weeks. So, yeah, that is the meta right now as far as I'm aware for PvP in New World 1.05.